Hey, you guys, welcome to day 12 of Hot Topics and Cool Drinks. This event is created exclusively for adults 50 and over, especially for those of us who are corporate executives, past or present, entrepreneurs, educators, family stewards, parts of households that have invested in private education, people who understand that values, not trends, is what guide families. I'm your host, Antoinette Wolf, a former corporate executive turned philanthropist, entrepreneur, licensed real estate agent, writer, and mother. Each evening, we gather here to center ourselves in clarity and conversation, and each night includes a featured book that aligns with purpose, legacy, and awareness, a wellness tip for women navigating menopause, a discussion about parenting in today's digital world where online cruelty, misinformation, and influence culture challenge everything that we've built. And yes, every night begins and ends with poetry from my book, She Shines Anyway, because grounding ourselves in intention is how we stay present and powerful. So here's what we're covering tonight, guys. A poetry reading from She Shines Anyway to set our intention, a deep dive into Queen Elizabeth II, A Glorious 70 Years by Allison James with her expanded history on Elizabeth I and how the state of Virginia was named in her honor. Tonight's Menopause Minute, focusing on bone health for executives, and our business corner where we address 4 key strategy questions for executives that are expanding their own companies, plus how AI can help support these strategies. Now, our hot topic tonight, why parents are the true influencers in their children's lives and why the role must never be outsourced to things like social media or outside figures. Okay, so before I get started on tonight's poetry reading, let me share what my cool drink of the night is. It is this one. It's Poppy's Watermelon, the prebiotic soda. And the reason why I like this is number one, there's only 30 calories. All right, but it's sweetened with agave and it does have some cane sugar in it. It has apple cider, vegetable juice, watermelon juice, and some other things. But at the end of the day, it's only 30 calories. So I love it. And let's go ahead and have our toast to tonight. Let's just call it a good night, a good day. All right? A good session. This is delicious. I'm going to give this one. It is a little bit, for me, it's a little bit on the sweeter side. I'll be honest, because again, you have to keep in mind that I keep my sugar content really low. So it's on the sweeter side, but I give it an 8. I like it. I give it an 8. Yeah, it's an 8. It definitely is an 8. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with tonight's reading from my book, She Shines Anyway, which is 76 poems for the woman that refuses to dim her light. And you guys know, I always brag about the fact that I was able to edit this book in as little as under 1 hour using AI. So that's definitely a big deal for me, because in the past it has taken months for me to get an edit done, you know, because I have to do revisions, this and that, but I was able to do it myself in under an hour. That's a huge deal. Let's see here. Here we are. So this poem is called Wellness is a Form of Rebellion. They taught us to run until we burnt out, to give up empty, to wear pain like purpose. But I rebelled, I rested, I nourished, I said no, I chose wholeness over hustle, peace over praise, and in a world that profits off of women who forget themselves, choosing wellness is war. Okay, so I guess I chose war. All right. Anyway, so that's that poem. That's the first one for the evening. And let's go on to tonight's actual featured book, okay? So tonight's featured book is one of my favorites, and you're going to learn why in just a bit. But it is Queen Elizabeth II, A Glorious 70 Years by Allison James. And what I want to tell you is Allison James is a seasoned historian and author known for her accessible, detailed works on British royalty. James has a gift for blending historical depth with narrative elegance, making her books engaging not only for scholars but also for readers who simply want to understand the human story behind the crown. This book is curated volume set. This curated book celebrates Queen Elizabeth II Platinum Jubilee with her unprecedented 70 years on the throne, rich with photography, personal key moments from her unexpected ascension at 25 to her role as a steadying force through her political upheaval. This is a book that captures both her public duty and her private humanity. Excuse me. I'm having a moment. But anyway, so James also connects Elizabeth II's legacy with her great namesake, Queen Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen, who personally I absolutely adored. I think that for me personally, she's one of my favorite queens known in history. And when I say one of, because, I consider my mother and grandmother queens, but definitely she is undoubtedly Queen Elizabeth I, one of my favorite queens. I mean, I just love everything about her. I'm going to share some things about her in just a moment, but I'm doing it now. So Queen Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen who defied her era's limitation to become one of England's most iconic rulers. Queen Elizabeth I reigned from 1558 to 1603 during the celebrated Elizabeth age, marked by exploration, flourishing arts, and England's emergence as a world power. She was the daughter of Henry VIII and Anne, declared illegitimate in her youth, yet rose to power after the death of her half-sister Mary I. Known for her intelligence, her diplomatic skill, and her ability to maintain England's independence, Elizabeth cultivated an image as the Virgin Queen. She married only to her kingdom. This image was her central of her identity and became a political asset. Her connection to North America came in 1584 when Sir Walter Raleigh secured a charter from her to explore with colonize the New World. Upon discovering the eastern coastline, Raleigh named the territory Virginia in her honor, a nod of her unmarried status originally. Virginia described a massive stretch of land along the Atlantic seaboard, but the name endured and is still a living symbol of her influence in American history. Now, I want to be abundantly clear. Here's the thing. They did name Virginia after her, and they did come and colonize the state of Virginia. I feel some kind of way as a Native American. I definitely feel some kind of way about colonizers. I'm not talking about the colonizers. She is one of my favorite queens. Her diplomatic style, her intelligence, her ability to stay focused, her ability to make change, her ability to overcome as a woman is just so powerful. Her light was so magnificent. And of course, we've never seen her, but you can see it through her airs. You can see who she was. Magnificence. I do recommend this book, but I also recommend you getting yourself familiar with not just Queen Elizabeth II, but also Queen Elizabeth I. You will not regret that magic. Okay. Anyway, so let's move on to our Menopause Minute. Tonight's focus is bone health for the executive lifestyle. So for women who've spent decades in high-pressure corporate environments, bone health often takes a back seat. Yet after menopause, estrogen loss accelerates bone density declines. Executives in leadership roles are often managing high-stress schedules, long flights, and long hours, making intentional bone health strategies essential. So some of the things that we can do and focus on is nutrition. Prioritize calcium and vitamin D through whole foods and supplements as needed. We've been talking a lot about calcium and vitamin D. We're going to talk more into detail as the month goes on. movement. Incorporate weight-bearing exercise into your weekly schedule. Think resistance bands in your travel bag or quick hotel workouts between meetings. And lifestyle. Limit the caffeine and alcohol, as both can leach calcium from the bones, just draining, just sucking on them bones. I had to stop drinking personally because, like I shared with you guys before, menopause can start anywhere between 35 and 55, okay? Sometimes sooner, sometimes later, you know? But I'm in the middle of it, and I'm not quite there yet, but I am in the middle of it. I can feel the changes, and I had to stop drinking alcohol. You know, occasionally I'll have a glass of wine. As a matter of fact, you know, this reminds me of a little something, but it's not, let me tell you something. If I have to choose between a drink and having healthy bones, I choose healthy bones, okay? And that's just the bottom line. So let's go into the business corner for corporate executives expanding into their own companies. This section is for executives who have already proven themselves in leadership and are ready to build a legacy business. Tonight, we're expanding on 4 critical questions. Number 1, what is your goal? So, what are your goals? So for seasoned executives, goals must be legacy driven. These are things that you need to write down and ask yourself when you're in that position of transitioning, right? So for seasoned executives, goals must be legacy driven, not just profit driven. Are you building a company to sell or enduring brand to pass down? Are you aiming for market disruption or long-term market leadership? Clarifying your true goal helps you allocate resources, select markets, and choose the right growth strategy. Number 2, who's your ideal customer? Executives know that not all revenue is equal. The ideal customer for a legacy corporation is one who delivers reoccurring high-value business and aligns with your brand values. Who can you serve at the highest level while maintaining profitability and reputation? Because we all know a quick buck is not a buck we want. And that's just the bottom line. Okay. Number 3, what are you saying? Your message must shift from corporate jargon to a voice that reflects ownership, vision, and authority. Are you communicating the story of your transition from a corporate leader to founder? Are you making it clear why your leadership background gives your customers more confidence in your company than it does your competitors? And number 4, where do they hang out? Your ideal customers aren't scrolling aimlessly online. They're exclusive. They're at conferences, okay, inside industry mastermind groups and boardrooms, and on curated networking platforms. Are you positioning yourself in those spaces, or are you marketing like a startup, hoping to be discovered? Executive level marketing is targeted, intentional, and precise. And let me share this with you just because, you know, I'm a huge fan of technology, and like I keep sharing with you, AI has taken my business to a whole new level. So where AI can fit in with this is artificial intelligence can streamline many of these processes, helping you identify the market trends faster, segment your audience more accurately, and automate high-level customer relationship management. So your focus stays on strategic growth. Okay, used wisely, AI amplifies your executive expertise rather than replacing it. All right, let's take another sip before moving on to the next topic. All right, so this is tonight's hot topic. All right, parents are the true influencers. In a world where social media personalities, influencers, and even political figures compete for our children's attention, the truth is simple. Parents are the first and most important influencers and should remain so. And here's why. We fund their lives from the roof over their heads to the shoes on their feet. It's parents who make the daily sacrifices to ensure our children have security. We invest in our own education, whether through degrees, certifications, or lifelong learning. We've modeled the discipline and commitment it takes to grow into capable, respected adults. We demonstrate work ethic, Children see us showing up every day, meeting deadlines, solving problems, and leading responsibly. That's the example that lasts. We set the moral compass. No influencer or politician can instill integrity, empathy, or accountability in a child the way that an engaged parent can. And we have real world credibility. While an online persona might showcase a glamorous life, parents provide the reality check, teaching children how to navigate life's complexities, handle setbacks, and find fulfillment in real achievements. And let's be clear, just because someone is an influencer does not mean that they're a good influencer. Shiny doesn't always mean real. And in this day and age, like we were talking about the other night, we know most of social media is staged or entirely faked. When children idolize that kind of manufactured image, it can distort their reality. The stakes are high. Cyberbullying, public shootings, and human trafficking have all been cases where social media played a contributing role. Not all, but enough to take this seriously. And that is why we must guard our role as the primary influencers in our children's lives. And again, this is why I wrote my book, Do Your Job, A Parent's Manifesto to Protection, Privacy, and Power by Tawny Wolf. Okay, and you guys know you can find it on Amazon.com and my website, bwellnesscenter.shop. All right, but yeah, definitely think about some of the things that I'm saying. Replay them. Okay, don't forget, I'm going to be consistently talking about why it's so important, because again, there is in fact 100%, you can Google it, there is 100% a nationwide crisis right now on our children's mental health, and it is due to what's going on online. So that's a big deal. We have to take control. It's not even optional. All right. Anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and end this, I guess. I'm going to have another sip, and then I'm going to read again from She Shines Anyway. The 76 poems for the woman who refuses to dim her light. So here we are. This poem is called I Left the Table Because I Wasn't Digesting. I stayed too long at tables. They looked good on the outside, polished, proper, but every word felt heavy and every sentence louder than knives. I used to convince myself that discomfort was just part of the meal, that maybe if I chewed slowly enough, the tension would soften, but energy doesn't lie, and I stopped pretending to swallow. What I knew was making me sick, so I got up, not in anger, but in wisdom. Because when your soul can't digest the room, your peace becomes the bill. Okay. So anyway, so that was another poem from my book, She Shines Anyway, which you can find on bwellnesscenter.shop, but you can also find it on Amazon. And yeah, that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining me tonight for day 12 of Hot Topics and Cool Drinks. We'll be right back here tomorrow, same time, same place, continuing this same powerful series through the end of August. This is the space for those of us over 50, especially corporate executives, to deepen our legacies and carry forward what our educated parents, excuse me guys, what our educated parents built before us. We meet here to make sure our children and grandchildren inherit not just financial wealth, but the educated, value-driven foundation that will keep their lives strong long after trends fade. And that's what Hot Topics and Cool Drinks is all about. Purpose, clarity, and conversations that strengthen families for generations to come. I hope you guys have a great one. I'll see you soon. Mwah! See ya.